Section 2.4 Interactive Assignment Objective 1. The figures to the right represent the number of bakeries in two towns. The first part, part A, is how are the figures misleading? Okay, now, if the figures are misleading, we want to find the incorrect assumption one could make about the data by looking at the figures. So here it tells us that we have 10 in Warm Springs, so 10 bakeries, and we have 7 bakeries in Denton. Now, in part A it says it looks like Warm Springs has slightly fewer bakeries than Denton. Well, it's not slightly fewer because they have 3 more. Okay, it says the figures are not misleading. Well, we don't want to say that because that's not the case. It looks like Warm Springs has significantly more bakeries than Denton. Well, that's true because there's 10 here and there's 7 there. It looks like the bakeries in Warm Springs are much larger than those in Denton. Well, that's not true. It just says that we have 10. We have significantly more. So therefore, our answer is going to be C. It looks like Warm Springs has significantly more bakeries than Denton. Okay, the next question says, what could be done to improve the graphic? Okay, so if the figures are misleading, we want to decide how the figures should be altered to make it reflect the data more accurately. So it says the Warm Springs figures should be 5% smaller than it is now. Well, that's not true. It says the Denton figure should be 70% as large as the Warm Springs figure. Well, that might be true because we have, if there's 10 here, and that's 7 out of 10, that means 7 divided by 10 gives us 0.70, right? So if we take that 7 over 10, that becomes 0.70. Multiply that by 100%, gives us 70%. So that looks like it could be B. Okay, part C, it says the graph does not need to be changed. That's not true. And it says the Denton figure should be 10% smaller than the Warm Springs figure. Well, that doesn't give us any information, but the 7 out of 10 does tell us something. So, going back to our question, we're going to answer it B. We're going to say that the Denton figure should be 70% as large as the Warm Springs figure.